What's going on, my YouTube people? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing great. As always, I want to thank you guys first and foremost. You guys actually just helped me tip over that 2,000 subscriber mark. So, again, really appreciate it. I'm a little over it right now at this point, but I just want to let you guys know that if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I know it's a small step for many of you, and you guys follow a lot of big YouTubers, but for me, it is a big, giant leap and I'm just excited, guys. So I'm really humble about that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But without further ado, guys, let's talk, man. We got to talk about this week because it's Tuesday. You're probably going to see this video on a Wednesday, but I'm recording on Tuesday, and it's already been a heck of a week, man. It's been such a nice uh, reassuring week for me personally because I've been excited for the LG G4, and the LG G4 is just a TV that for me is going to be something along the lines of a big leap towards what we are looking forward to in the near future. And what I mean by that is the LG G4 has really gone through a lot of strides. This is just the way I see it, by the way. A lot of strides to really regain or reclaim their spot as the number one TV brand in the country, in the U.S. Hope and they're shooting for the number one TV in the world. But there's a lot of TVs in other countries that obviously we do not have access to here in the U.S. So, I'm really kind of just applying my thoughts to what we have access to here in the United States. So, with that being said, the LG G4 has numerous amounts of upgrades, leaps, and to me, they're leaps. They're big jumps. I mean, obviously, we all know that the new A11 processor is a huge step forward in the right direction. Not only are they able to use their processing for new features that we never had access to, I don't think in any other brand at all. So they're going to be, let's say, streamlining this, and they are going to be the pioneers of a lot of these features. But they have also improved some of the things that, let's say, maybe the G3 has been a little bit more lackluster in, or just needed some improvements in, things like that, or on, I should say. And I'm just like overall excited. It's looking like the G4 is going to be indeed the TV of the year. Granted, obviously, we don't know what Sony has in mind. They may have some masterful trick up their sleeve that nobody also knows about. They could be just sitting uh, behind the scenes and just observing what every other brand is doing to ensure themselves to be able to still be the TV of the year with whatever 2024 model they are going to release QD OLED wise, if they even are. But yeah, that's basically my point. So the big question to me right now, as it sits, being that there's a lot of speculation whether Sony is going to be releasing a new QD OLED TV, uh, etc., is is the G4 even enough to be able to beat the A95L? That's a big question that a lot of people are actually asking out there. And you know what? For good reason. The A95L released basically a few months ago. It's a 2023 model that a lot of people consider a 2024 model because it released so late in the year, and I get it and it makes sense. But technically, it's a 2023 model. So, is it enough to beat that TV? And you know what? Personally, I think it may be. And the reason why I say that is because primarily the processing. Things that I'm excited about with the G4 are going to be, to me, the big changes. And they're going to be obviously the processing, the AI process, picture processing. Uh, there's going to be motion processing, and dynamic tone mapping pro. Things like that you're going to be able to customize even more and provided more flexibility is just going to be amazing. Here are some of the other primary things that the LG G3's processor really wasn't able to keep up with in my personal experience with the Sony A95L. And a lot of that, I also believe that LG has also refined with the new processor and possibly surpassed Sony A95L. We won't know because we have to see them side by side in their strengths with their enhancements, let's say, enabled. You know, but things that are equivalent to XR Clear that LG G4 is going to come out within their AI processing. Um, Things that are going to address better motion, LG has addressed. All these different things. And it seems that LG is so confident that they are saying it's going to not only be better, but surpass anything out there. And, that's how confident they are in this A11 processor. So I'm really excited about it. Um, a few other things. Sorry, guys, my camera keeps moving because, as you can tell, I only have two TVs here. Usually I have three. I am no longer an owner of the Samsung S95C because I have gotten rid of it. There's a new happy owner to that TV, which I'm happy to announce because I am making room for the LG G4. And that was the only way in order for me to do it. So, um, as that's basically what I do throughout the years. But, anyways, not to change the subject there, but so with the LG G4, right? These are these things that last year we are talking about needed improvements. And another thing that I'm really excited to see is if they made their improvements for gaming. Now, for me, as far as specifically gaming goes, I thought that although, let's say, the picture was more dim, it wasn't as bright as, let's say, the S95C and the A95L. I still thought that the gaming menu itself, the game optimizer, was literally the best in the business. There was no way. I didn't think, especially the A95L, uh, did not have a game menu better than the LG G3. The S95C was pretty much neck and neck there. I still thought the LG was better with the gaming menu, just because it was a little bit more fine tunable. But a lot of people had their own personal opinions on that, and I got to give it to Samsung. They definitely showed out with color purity, color luminance, brightness. They really had it down the best when it came to color and brightness for gaming, and that just automatically wows the general mass of who purchases these TVs for gaming. So that would be the direction that you would want to go, because it was a clear winner for most people who game, and I get it. I totally get it. For me, I do feel like it's a little bit more than that. I think for me, it should be more like a menu experience for gaming and the versatility and flexibility of what you can do for gaming. It's just a big deal for me. So everyone's different in that perspective. But anyways, I have this movie, Transformers Beast Wars, up, and I just want to show you an example of what I personally think the LG G4 is going to make certain improvements on, and I want to use these two TVs as an example. So I'm just going to get to a certain scene here, guys. I don't want to get too crazy, but Let me just forward this a little bit. Actually, I don't think I need to forward it. Let's go to, actually, yeah, let me just skip a little. All right. And let's stop right here. Okay. All right, guys. So there's a couple things. Actually, going to let this play a little bit more. All right. There's a couple of things that I do want to show you guys as an example of why I think, or what I think the LG is going to improve upon, right? Let me just go back a couple steps here. Now, when I pull up this scene, right? This scene to me has a lot of details, all right? So for me, the A95L gives you a better fine detail experience. The LG G3 comes really, really close. Don't get me wrong, it does. But it's just something about the A95L that just not only can bring out the finer details, but can do it without, to me, without looking over sharpened. Now, granted, I honestly keep reality creation off most of the time, like it is right now, and it still looks better. It still looks more clear to me than the LG G3 in most scenes, or most of the time. So I want to just do a close up so I can show you what I mean. All right, so I'm going to take the camera. All right, so we're going to go to the LG G3 first. And as you guys can see, we have a lot of details, right? A lot of fine details. Like if we take it to this section here, you can see a lot of fine details within the lights, within the highlights, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of details, fine details along this structure right here. Now we're going to go ahead and take this to the A95L and compare the same thing. Now just look at how much more clear that same section is right there. Look at how much more detail there is around there. So again, guys, they're really close, right? Look at that. They're really close, but this is kind of washed out a little bit more, not as much detail, right? And you can see there's just a little bit more detail in there. So it's one of those things where, like, if you didn't have the TV side by side, you probably wouldn't even notice. But when you do have them and you experience these TVs at home, it definitely makes, it kind of spoils you. It makes your TV watching experience that much better, because a lot of these movies you wouldn't even know will require or demand, because of what it produces, will demand a TV to be able to bring those details out. And it's up to the TV's processing to be able to go ahead and produce that image, right? So that's what makes the A95L, that XR processing. XR Clear, I know, has a lot more to do with upscaling lower like 720p 1080p content, but I do feel like it does contribute somewhat to upgrading or just making a native 4K picture look a lot better as well in some ways. Maybe not a lot better, but slightly better. And I think it's just that little bit of kick that the A95L produces. So guys, listen, I've loved the G3, all right? I'm not knocking the G3. You have to understand that when you listen to what I'm saying. 9 out of 10 people, 10 out of 10 people will most likely enjoy the G3, especially when you start considering price points. All right. When you start considering price points, most people will say it's not worth spending the extra money for the A95L. And I completely understand it. It's your hard earned money, and they are that close where it really doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that when you take price out of the equation, the Sony A95L does the trick. It is the better TV. That's all I'm saying. Regardless of what you choose, is your personal opinion, which is perfectly fine. And that's the whole reason why we do this. So, um, all I'm doing is just sharing my personal experience with the TVs and what I notice. And if you guys um, want to go in one direction, whether it's one TV or another, that's perfectly fine. That's the whole point of this. The whole point is maybe we can all just find a way to help each other out. That's all. So you guys know I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be a professional. Um, I set my TVs up the way I like them, whether it's one extreme or the other. There's different preferences for different people. I have a different setup in my rooms throughout the house, so it doesn't, you know, everyone's different is what I'm trying to say. So, but yeah, so that's one of the biggest things that I really wanted to explain as far as what I also think LG is planning on doing. Because if you guys remember earlier in this year, during CES and press releases from LG, they were basically explaining what these, or generally speaking, on what their processors are going to be doing. They didn't get into too much detail until as of recently with a lot of big YouTubers and online research, reading online what LG can do and things like that. But basically, LG in the beginning was saying, there's going to be a pretty big graphics improvement, upscaling improvement, um, motion improvement, which, LG is already known for that, for having great motion, pretty much one of the most flawless motions in the business LG has, which I love. And, there's, and then on top of that, as the icing on the cake, guys, I mean, you're talking about things that no other brand, as we know of right now, is going to be able to do. Meaning, you can customize your tone mapping, right, with the LG G4. So I'm super excited about that. You're going to be able to, excuse me, I just want to get to a certain scene here. You're going to be able to enable uh, you're going to be able to enable AI motion settings. So it's going to be able to detect motion scene by scene and act accordingly to what it thinks, how it thinks it should operate, whether it's going to put more interpolation in it, it's going to give you more smoother motion, things like that. So, I'm super excited about that. And here's another thing I'm really excited about is the Picture Pro, which I'm going to test out and use on my own just to see how it works. It's going to direct its focus on certain images. So, like, let's say, for example, there's a basketball floating in the air and in slow motion, and that is the primary, that would be like your primary focus within that scene. It will direct all its processing to make that basketball look more detailed, not only with the fine details but with the color. So I'm really excited about that. And that to me alone is going to take the G4 to a whole other level, which I'm super excited about. Um, the other thing that I'm really excited about, I want to stop it at this scene too, is when it comes to, let's say, gaming, it looks to me as if the tone mapping is able, the tone mapping customization is also going to be able to be used in gaming. So I don't know if it's going to be able to be used in all the tone mapping presets. It might be just HGIG. I really don't know, but it looks like it. So I'm super stoked about that. Now, if I'm wrong, whatever. I'm gonna test the TVs out anyways, and I'll show you guys and how it works. But those are just things that I'm excited about. Again, the G4 looks like a promising TV to be the TV of the year. And my theory, I've been saying this since the beginning. This is again a guess. I think that LG is so confident in their WRGB technology that their their statement this year is basically telling us as a consumer that just because QD OLED has is a different type of technology, it doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily truly better. And it doesn't also mean that WRGB technology is a thing of the past. And the way they're going to prove that is through their science, through their processing. And I think that that's going to be a big statement if they actually do end up being the TV of the year because of that reason. Because that's a big deal when you think about it, guys. That is LG saying, guys, listen, just because QD OLED is a QD OLED panel, it doesn't mean that they're better. There's more to it than just actual panel technology, you know? And there's a lot of processing that has to do with why a picture looks better than the other. And I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to it because if LG does indeed win the TV of the year, more power to them. It's a great statement that they're making if they do that. Um, and you know, I'm rooting for them. I really am. So as you guys know, as far as premium TVs goes, I've had more LGs than any other brand. Um, yes, my favorite TV is currently the A95L. Overall favorite TV. Do I think it's better in every single segment? No. I do think there's things about the G3 that's better. I do think there's things about the S95C that's better, and vice versa, than the over the A95L. But I think overall, for me, the A95L kind of checks most of the boxes off the best over every other TV, and you know it's going to be a hard TV to beat. You know, and I'm excited. Um, we'll see. And again, Sony can come out with a new TV, also a new QD OLED this year, just like they did last year, late in the year, and just completely take over the whole game. And they're probably purposely waiting to see what LG and Samsung are doing in order for them to ensure themselves that they will be the best TV of the year again. They do that. They always come out late, and it's a strategic move that they do. I don't know if that's for a fact why they do it, but that's just what they do. I have a feeling it is. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. But I'm excited either way. Let me know what you guys think. Let's see what LG has to offer. And, you know, we're going to go from there. And I'm excited, guys. One last thing I just want to show you guys is another reason why I like the processing of Sony is because this is a good example. Right here, you got a lot of fine details, right, in there, but it looks a little bit more on the blurry side, right? Over here, it just has a little bit more clarity right there. And those are the things that I think that LG is going to be working on, the fine details, as you guys can see. So that's my basic example right there, guys. I hope everybody's Doing great. Hey, listen, guys, if you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, as you know, I tried my best to get back to everybody. Thank you for all your support, and I will see you on the next one.